Hey everybody, and welcome back to Investment Honey, where we talk about various crypto projects. Before we begin, as always, I just want to let you know that I'm not your financial advisor, and we never provide investment advice on the channel. Now, with that being said, if you're somebody new, thanks so much for joining us. And if you've been with us, somewhere along the way or from the very beginning, again, we certainly appreciate your support of the channel and the series. Hear what we're doing in Dexscreener. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and take a look at some stuff before we get into discovery mode. So, here with PPCatch or Pip. I'm not even sure how you go ahead and pronounce this, so feel free to laugh at me all you want, but either way, I don't know how to say it. So the point is, this is one, I didn't talk about this on the channel per se, but I did go ahead and set an alert on this one. Saw this one initially, start out, went up, came back down, and then I set an alert for this one here at 7K. So I've mentioned this before on the channel, where it's not a bad idea to go ahead and take a look at some of the charts that go up and come down, and then they're kind of just bottomed out, because we've seen them plenty of times, in the crypto landscape, that charts can go ahead and just shoot up out of nowhere for no reason. Or sometimes, there's somebody that decides to go ahead and CTO, the token, and then all of a sudden they bring in some new life into that token and so forth. So this is one where it's really interesting, because I set this, put the note in, for the found market cap at 7K, and then I wanted it to trigger at 9. Now, for some reason, I went ahead and I missed, the alert, but either way, this was created 8 days ago, because obviously, Dexscreener does track, when we set these alerts and when they trigger, so if we take a look, at the chart, and I took a screenshot of this one went absolutely bonkers. Okay, so if we take a look here, we can see that it's really flatlined, and then obviously it starts to, head up, takes off and then comes back down, right? But it's not done yet. And you can see, just looking at the chart, more runs, heads up here, heavy retracement. Well, we know that, since a lot of times when these charts go up, and then you see it at a peak. I've mentioned this before. They will come back down. That's just kind of how it goes. Because obviously, you got people that go ahead and get into these early levels. Take me, for instance. I set the alert to go ahead and go off under 10K. That could have been me. And then obviously, decided to go ahead and do whatever according, based on, what was taking place here on the chart. Now, if you look here at the all-time high, we're talking like this right here is just under 1 million. So we're talking all the way, because obviously I set the alert at 7K to go off at 9K. So the found market cap again was 7K, and then it was supposed to trigger at 9, which it did, I'm sure. Again, I just didn't see it. So, but all the way to 1 million. Insane, right? So this is, again, me highlighting the power of setting these alerts so that you don't have to go and watch the chart. The alerts can go ahead and stay in your collection of alerts, as long as you want. Now, what I did find recently, I think it was a couple of days ago, I was going into take a look, at what had triggered, and I had so many alerts. It was actually slowing it down, on my phone. Now, I've got an iPhone 16, Pro Max, so we're talking about top of the line phone, and it was kind of slow getting into Dexscreener to go ahead and see what the alerts were, so to see what had triggered, so keep in mind, I've mentioned this before, you do have to go in, you do have to manage those alerts. You got to go ahead and adjust them. You have to take inventory of what you got going on. So the stuff that's in there, if you're no longer needing it, so because for some of these that either they, the team decided to go ahead and rug the token, or it's sitting at such a low level. For some of these, for a lot of the ones that I cleared out of my collection, I had 2 alerts set. So I had an over and I had an under. Well, if it's sitting at the bottom, you no longer need an under, alert, right? So that's going to clear out some of your alerts already. And then you have to go through them one by one to see which ones you don't need to go and watch anymore. And you'll know the ones that have rugged, because they'll typically highlight, here in the right-hand corner, to say, it has very little liquidity. That's a very clear sign that the token's no longer getting any kind of activity. The developer or, the dev behind it, decided to go and rug the token. So that's one that, you could easily just go ahead and, take out of your list of tokens that you're following. So, but for this one, this was amazing. 9K all the way up to 1 million is incredible, right? And so even now, even if you were late to the party, if you still put in something at 9K, and keep in mind, I always make this disclaimer, we don't encourage you to invest in the channel, but we know that you're engaging with crypto-related content, so you're likely going to go ahead and, there's a chance you're going to invest anyway, but again, the disclaimer still has to be made, but you're still talking 9K all the way, still sitting right here, and this is super late to the game. at 382K. So even if you threw something in and you completely forgot about it for days, you'd still be up massively. So again, just highlighting this as an example where it's not a bad idea to go ahead and still keep an eye, on the tokens that have bottomed out. Keep in mind, like let's say Black History Month, that token we talked about weeks ago, right? So that one I think is sitting at like a 15K market cap right now. But we know that when we looked at that one before, it went to the hundreds of thousands on the market cap. It came out of nowhere as we were coming into Black History Month. So that's one I'm still continuing to watch. So set an alert for that one. I don't know what I set the trigger at, for it, but either way, I know that when that holiday comes back around, should we still be, recognizing it, at all, because obviously the Trump administration is doing different things, with that. But the point is, as these holidays come back around, we may see and can anticipate that we may see some of these old tokens that have been just kind of sitting dormant for months start to see some new activity, so keep that in mind as far as the alerts are concerned. Now, and again, this kind of little information here is, and I say this in a lot of videos, is the reason why it's not a bad idea to watch more of the videos, because you never know when I'm going to tell you something that might actually be helpful. It doesn't really follow what the typical, pattern of things that I tell you about, in each video. So there's always going to be a lot of times, something that may be just an add-on in terms of information that you might find helpful in terms of, how you spot tokens, utilizing Dexscreener as a platform. So we're going to go ahead and exit this particular token, and then I'm going to exit this as well. And then looking here, Toby, we talked about Toby for about, 2-3 times, here on the channel. And so the reason why I want to bring this one up is because I took a screenshot here where you can see it's currently, at the time of the screenshot, which was yesterday, sitting at 186K. But at the high, we were talking like, I think this is just around 800K. Now, when we found Toby, looking at the alerts, we found Toby at 60K. And I had 2 alerts set on this one. One to trigger when it went under 45K. So because this did trigger, it tells you at one point it was under 45K. And then I also had it to trigger above 75K. So if we're talking that this triggered under 45K and it still ran to almost 800K, massive gains, for anybody that decided to go ahead and follow this one with any level of conviction, right? So another reason why I'm pointing this one out to you. And again, even at 60K, super late to the game, and it's still sitting at above a 2X, on this one as far as the current market cap. So wanted to go ahead and point that one out, as well. And then if we look here at Boominator, this is one, I think when we initially talked about it, I really wasn't too sure about this one. And I had gone ahead and I set, one alert based on where the candle was, as far as this particular token is concerned, that I wanted it to trigger, under 50K. Now, when you look at the screenshot here is showing you, and this was taken yesterday, it skyrocketed to over 1.1 million on the market cap. Now, when we look back here and we're looking at this alert, we're talking it never triggered under 50K, okay? But we found, it doesn't matter, but we found it at 88K. So we're talking, this went from 88K over 1.1 million on the market cap. Now, if we look at the current chart, obviously, right here, they retraced, but you're still sitting at over 900K on the market cap. So even if you were super late and you missed the pump, you're still massively up if you followed this one, the alert that I set on this, with any conviction, because obviously it took a little bit before this one decided to go ahead and, pop off. But either way, I mean, it made some massive moves, great gains, when you look at the found market cap to where it finally decided to go ahead and settle, and like I said, even late to the game, we're still sitting over 900K when the found market cap on this was 88K. So again, keep in mind, going through some of this review, and we've seen this time and time again on this channel in this series, where we've been able to go ahead and spot some stuff, take a look at the channel, we've been able to go ahead and set the alerts. And sometimes we don't always set 2 alerts. If you're new to this channel, sometimes we're only setting 1 alert, because if the candle is at the top, I don't really see the point in setting an over alert at that point. The only thing I'm interested in, if I'm interested in that particular token based on everything else I've seen, maybe in the channel and what they're doing in terms of marketing, I only want to see the retracement, because the retracement is obviously going to allow me to get in, at a better entry, and lower entries mean more tokens, for whatever I'm deciding to invest in, financially. So, for this one, and I've also mentioned, that if you come to a token, and in this one particularly, where at the time that it was found, we found it at a time, where it didn't make any sense to set an over alert, but you still could have put in, some money. Like I said, I've talked about this several times throughout the series. You could have just gone ahead and thrown in a couple of dollars, and then at that point, you use Maestro. Maestro links are in the description if you're not familiar with that bot. They have a buy dip function. You go ahead and you throw in a couple of bucks, and then you click the buy dip function. Now it will only activate once you set your threshold and you've set your buy. So your threshold will be, maybe you want to see it, retrace 20 or 30%. Maybe you want to see it at a certain market cap before you want the bot to trigger your buy. And then you set the buy, and then you click buy dip, and then it will show you a little line indicating that, hey, you are now asking the bot to trigger at a certain threshold, whatever you set in it, to trigger at. So, and the great thing about this is that the bot is now watching the chart. You've also got the alert in Dexscreener watching the chart, and both of them will have separate jobs. The bot's going to go ahead and trigger buy for you at the threshold that you set, which is going to be lower, than obviously what you're looking at in Dexscreener, right? And then Dexscreener is going to let you know if it meets whatever threshold you set, for the alert that you're setting on that particular, token. So, a lot of automation that you can employ when it comes to, looking at this stuff, and you don't have to sit and watch these charts. I know when I was starting out, I thought that, you had to do a lot of chart watching and really understand, how the Satoshis work, the candles work, and so forth. But you do have some tools out there. Don't let bots, be, one of those intimidating things. That can be very helpful in terms of, the efficiency of your trading and the speed, of your trading as well. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and close this out. And as you can see, this one's still getting buys, so, and then we're going to go into, discovery mode, right now. So, as far as like my configuration, here on the main screen, I don't have to go and do anything with the gear because I've kept this, from yesterday. So, but as always, I like to keep the age, the time slots, the market cap. Those are the things I tend to like to keep, when it comes to my configuration here, because I think it makes it pretty easy to scan and read. All right, and then as far as like filters are concerned, we'll go back to looking at all four of these, so we don't have to do anything here on the Dex side because we got multiple chains selected. And on the market cap, we're going to go back to just kind of a basic config, in terms of what we're looking for. So no additional information as far as like, any extra stuff you can do with the filters today. But on the pair age, we're going to look at 1 hour to 30 hours. And then here on the 24-hour chains, we're going to go with our 10% minimum. And on the max here on the market cap, sorry, I missed that the first time around. We'll go to 200K since we've got 4 different chains selected. So there we go. Let's see what we got. It looks like we may have about 40 or 50 tokens here. Almost 60 actually. So that's a lot. What we're going to do, we're going to trim this down a bit. We're going to go to 150. Okay. So 150, there we are. All right, so this should trim it down a bit. I want to see about 30 to 40. Okay, so I think we'll be good here. And what we're going to do, we've got it sorted, by the 5 minute, but let me go ahead and show you, especially if you're new here. 24 hour give us the greatest gains, the 24-hour column, obviously all the way down to that minimum 10% value that we put in here, in the filters. This is where, we're able to see that be applied. We only wanted to see a minimum of 10%. Anything above 10%, is fine too. So, all right. And so obviously we don't see anything under 10% in this column. But if we want to go ahead and just quickly filter, by which tokens are seeing the most activity most recently, we can go to the 5 minute, we can go to the 1 hour. So again, this is another useful thing that I do in terms of, utilizing this gear. And this gear is actually a newer function, for this particular platform, but I do like it. So if I go ahead and I filter, by the 5 minute, which makes it real easy to go ahead and see, which ones are getting, a lot of, good action, here in the last 5 minutes. We can go ahead and we can open up pre-rich. Remember, we're not really fooling around with these that have the box and the question mark, because those tend to be tokens that don't always do well. And that's not to say that it's a hard rule that the ones that don't have that always do well, but I tend to find that there are more scams, when I see this. So I tend to avoid those. Just putting that out there for anybody that's new, just because, if you're new to the channel, new to the series, then you wouldn't have known that. I've mentioned that on several different occasions. So we're not going to mess with broccoli because we can see that they've got several dupes, of that one. So I tend to stay away from duplicate tokens. Anybody that's maybe new and I'm talking pretty quickly, sometimes I do that. Sometimes I don't. So just be aware of that. You do have the benefit of the video, so always feel free to go back and listen to it as much as you need to follow along with what I'm doing. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to open up. Oh man, this thing's skipping around a lot. So we open up the ones that were on the 5 minute that were still doing pretty good. Let's go ahead and let's go to the 1 hour here. Let's see if we get any exactly. Let's open up this one. We already opened that one up. Gemini, I don't think we opened up. We'll open that one up. And let's see here. Malcolm Coin. Sure, nothing going on in the 5 minute on that one. And we can obviously see very quickly, anytime you've got the dashes here, you can see what tokens, have something going on and which ones don't, so it's another useful, thing about the way that I set this up configuration wise. I can see which ones have activity and which ones don't very, very quickly. Let me see here. And on the 6 hour here, okay, we already opened up pre-rich. Okay, so we're going to leave this alone. Let's go ahead and instead of doing that, what we'll do, we'll go back here and we're going to widen the net. Okay, so we're going to go to 151. Okay, and then we're going to go to 300. Let's see what we get. All right, and okay, so I actually saw this one launch earlier. I think under 30K. So that one is done phenomenally well, but I didn't take a position on it, unfortunately. Let's see here. We got, we're going to go back here to the 5 minutes and Doge SEC, sure. Ugly Face, sure, we'll open that one up. Frog Lala, that one moved. Okay, we'll open that one up. Zero Byte, sure. LC Shib, okay. And let's open up Kimi AI. Well, let's open up that one too. American Eagle. Sure, let's open up that one. Okay, so we got a bunch to look at. All right, guys. So first of all, what we're going to do, we're going to take a look, at our charts. Okay, make sure the charts look okay. Make sure we got a Telegram. So that's part of our quick scan process. All right, so this one looks okay. We're going to keep it. Here we're looking at Fort Knox. So this is about that whole, I would imagine that they're going to be investigating, the gold reserves, right? So this one is a BNB token, so on the BSC, they do have a Telegram. Chart looks okay, so we'll go and we'll keep it. This one exactly, I think this sounds kind of cool. I love this right here in terms of the banner. You got some eggs looking at some literature, it looks like, so that looks pretty interesting. So we can see they've got a Telegram. Chart looks okay. We're going to keep that one. I opened exactly twice, didn't I? So we don't need to do that. And then here, looking at Gemini, let's go to the 5 minute here. All right, so the chart looks okay. The Telegram, okay, so we've got one. And then we can see Malcolm Coin. We're going to go to the 15 minute. This looks okay. They got a Telegram. We're going to keep it. Let's see here. SAT, this is the CTO. I wasn't sure if they had a Telegram, but it looks like they do. So yeah, this one, and it actually, this is kind of crazy for this one. This one sat kind of idle for at least a half hour before it really actually started to go ahead and do anything. So yeah, this one was, I'm really, really pleased to see that this one did, take off, and you can see it. I mean, it's a CTO. I've mentioned many times in regards to CTOs. Some of them do well. A lot of them are garbage, but this one seems to be doing massively well. Looking at the chart, I mean, it looks pretty healthy. I mean, one could surmise that maybe this could touch, 300, 400, 500,000. I mean, it's pretty close to 300,000 already. So yeah, just really glad to see that this one's, moving right along, and they got a Telegram. We'll check that one out. Now looking at this one, Doge SEC, no Telegram, so we're going to mess with that one. Ugly, this one looks like a rug, and I really don't like the chart pattern. So remember, we look at enough of these charts, you'll know what looks healthy and what doesn't. All right, so Frog Lala. This one, we got a Telegram. Chart looks okay, so we'll keep it. Here on Zero Byte, let's look at the 15 minutes. It looks okay. Looks like they're coming back, from the retracement that they saw earlier on the chart. And this is going to be a BSC token, so we'll definitely take a look at that one. They got a Telegram. This one's got a Telegram too, looking at LC. And I mean, the chart doesn't look too bad, but I like the 15-minute as opposed to the 5-minute. But it is in that danger area. You have minus 70%, on the 6-hour here. So this is one, it's a base token, so this is one I'm not really sure that we'll continue to look at, but I'll keep it open for now. We'll see what it looks like when we come back around to it. Looking at the 5-minute on this one looks okay. No heavy retracement other than the one that came right here. And they do have a Telegram, so we're going to keep it open. And then American Eagle. This one, I mean, it's an ETH token. They've got a Telegram, and the chart kind of looks like it's heading downward, but we're going to come back around to it, and we'll see what we get. So we got a bunch of tokens, open right now. So I'm not going to go ahead and widen that, in regards to the filters, going out to 500,000. I don't think that's necessary. Not sure. Okay, I wasn't sure why my Dexscreener wasn't showing up. So what we're going to do, we're going to go straight into checking out the channels and see what we got going on. So let's see here. Tap in. I'm guessing this is going to be their way to get into their portal. So we've got 260 plus members in the group. All right. So they have evidence of a raid right away. Sorry about that. We get buys that are coming in right now. So that meets my 10-minute buy window. If you're new, I like to see buys, evidence of buys within the last 10 minutes, or at least 10 minutes, from my clock on my computer. So my computer is saying 6:51. So obviously if we're seeing buys happening right away, that falls within that 10 minutes. Now, obviously if this is going to be like 6:39, as far as like the last buy, that's outside of the 10-minute window. And I would go ahead and say, look, I'm not messing with it. So that's generally how I tend to operate. Now we did see, like I said, evidence of a raid here through RaidBot, so we can see they were looking for 15 replies, 15 retweets, 15 likes, so looks like, they completed the likes, but they're 86% of the way on the retweets and 93% of the way on the replies. So, but good to see they're getting some community engagement, which you obviously want to go ahead and see that anytime you walk into a Telegram channel per se. You want to see evidence that the community is willing to go and work for the bags. They're willing to go ahead and really help to get the token that they're in, that they're supporting, more exposure, through raids taking place, on X. Now, if you're new to raids and you're not sure really what it is, like me, when I was new, I didn't get what a raid was. It's just simply an X link, Twitter link, and they want you to go ahead and engage with it through raids, likes, retweets, that kind of thing. So that helps the token, and that's not putting all the pressure, on the team to go ahead and get the token more exposure, right? So, but with that said, obviously, they're making good strides, on the raid. They're getting good buying activity. We've already seen those 20 plus messages since we've entered, this particular channel. They've got some stuff going on here, in the pinned messages. Not a lot, but always good to see some things there. So if we head back on out, because I think for this one, it makes sense to go ahead and set some filters, or not some filters, but some alerts. I think it's for this one, we wouldn't just do one. Let's go ahead and let's do 2 of them. Now, keep in mind, for anybody that's been with us, for any kind of amount of time, this is not the first pre-rich token that we've seen. This is the second one. Now, the first one that we talked about, and I'm not making any correlations that this one would do the same, but the first one that we talked about, I mean, we caught it early, and then it went to like over 5 million. So not saying that that's possible, even remotely possible with this one, but if you remember, it was the miner meme token, and they called it pre-rich, so where you had the 2 miners, one was on top, one was on the bottom, and then one was picking away at the dirt, the other one was picking away, and one was walking away, and one was continuing to hammer away. So yeah, so remember that one did really, really well, but I don't know what this one's going to do. I never know what they're going to do. Remember that, guys. So we got a small boost going on for this one as well. This migrated from Pump Fund, but they're sitting, let's see here. This one says 94K, and what's the tab say? Tab saying 102, so we're going to go with the tab, and this will catch up, but first of all, we're going to go straight to market cap. We're going to go to 102K, so we're going to copy that, and then on the over, I'm going to go ahead and set this at 115K. Remember, the alerts never show up when I'm recording. I don't know why, they just don't, but I can see them triggering on my phone, a lot of times, so, but if you've been, watching the series for any amount of time, and you're like, I never see any of the alerts trigger when you're recording. I figured this out some time ago. They never show up during the recording session. I don't know why, but we're going to go create that alert. And then on the under, okay, so I'm going to paste the 102, the found market cap. On the under, let's go ahead and let's go with 80K. All right, so there we go. And then we're going to close that out. Now, Fort Knox, we're going to go check out their Telegram, see what they got going on. So this week I see right away it's a CTO. Okay, so they got over 130 members in this. Last buy came in at 654. That's going to be a minute ago. All right, so any evidence of rating, typically you would see evidence of rating, pretty quickly, but we're not seeing any of that. Okay, here we go. So you had to scroll up quite a bit, to go ahead and see it. And this one, it's a very, very small raid. The only thing I would say about this is that, with 130 plus members in the community channel, you're only looking for 3 replies, 5 retweets, and 10 likes. That's a really small raid. So, to not be able to complete this at the point, and all they needed 2 more likes to complete it, I don't always like to see that. I want to see, a community that's more active in terms of completing the raids and, being invested in making sure that, hey, we're going to get these raids, smashed. We're going to knock them out the park, and obviously, people coming into the channel, they can see that. And that is more of a positive sign in terms of the community really supporting and backing the token. So, moving forward, we haven't seen any sign of trending yet, whatsoever. Sometimes I like to see that kind of stuff because it tells me that the community, isn't, at least not the community, but the team, the CTO team, isn't necessarily looking, completely to the community, even though I know it's a CTO, kind of is counterproductive or counterintuitive. That if as a community, everybody should be involved in, contributing funds and whatnot, to move the token. But I would also add this caveat that for a lot of CTOs, people do go ahead and get scammed because some random person, you don't know who they are, is saying, hey, I'll go ahead and I'll lead the CTO. And unless it's a multi-sig wallet, you're basically just sending, funds to a wallet they've created, and you don't know if it's actually going to get used for what they say it's going to be used for. So if you're somebody new to this landscape, understand it's pretty ruthless out here, and you can get taken a lot of times, if you are involved in a CTO and somebody's claiming they're going to go ahead and take it over, and you have no idea who this individual is, or whether their intentions to actually put any funds that are coming towards a wallet they set up to the actual token itself. Because what they could do is they could just go ahead and close the chat, leave, and then, hey, you contributed money to a token that you thought was actually going to be a good thing, but it turned out to just be a scam, right? So, but either way, I'm not making any, kind of preconceived notions or saying anything like that in regards to this token whatsoever. I'm just trying to highlight to anybody that's newer to crypto that those are things that do happen, so just tread carefully anytime somebody's asking, for contributions, to a marketing wallet to move a token, on a CTO. Okay, so moving forward, we're taking a look here at the pinned tweets or pinned messages. Sorry about that. And at one point, it looks like, they had a boost. Okay, so I'm not sure. Let's see, did they say anything in regards to that? So, okay, so top 21. So they're highlighting that they were on, hot pairs, but not seeing anything. Okay, so here's what I was looking for, that whoever's in charge of this did pay for a boost. So it's only 10x boost, it's a small one, but it's still a boost, right? So, and that boost is still active. Their hot pair is number 13, which is good to see. All right, so, and the chart's still moving forward, so even though they had retracement, we're still getting buys coming to this chart. All right, so for this one, we can set, they just got that buy. I think I would be looking for more retracement as opposed to an over alert on this one. So if we're looking at 138K, that's what this is saying. Let's see what the tab's saying. Tab is saying 149, so that means it's a catch up. We're just going to set the under. So I'm going to go here, under, I'm going to say 149. All right, and then I'm going to set this one for, 110. I don't know if it's going to trigger, but we'll see. Okay, so close this out. And then here, exactly, a lot of retracement. I think we're going to leave this one alone. Maybe. I don't know. Depends. If we see this start to come back up, because sometimes after you've seen a lot of retracement, you start to see a little bit of buys come in, and so they just kind of peak out, and then you get hit with a bunch of sell pressure again. And, so I don't know. For some tokens, they go ahead and go on this little bit of a ride, and then that's it. They just kind of run out of gas, and then it's over with. But for this one, and this is a Solana token, I don't know. Let's go and let's check out the channel anyway. Let's see. With this one, with eggs exactly, I think this is going to be one where they've got trending going on. They've got a pretty decent sized raid going on, but they haven't been able to complete it. But it's, I did see, some stuff that's not going to be appropriate, for YouTube upload. So you will notice a cut, on this one, just because I can't show the content that was recorded, in the actual upload. So, because that would not be appropriate at all to go ahead and show. So sometimes, especially if you're new, you're going to come into some of these channels where even though the moderation is active, they just didn't catch it before I saw it. You're going to see some inappropriate things, and that's what I saw in that channel. So, but for this one, I think we're going to let this one go, just because even though they've got the trending going on, they've got the raid going on, and even with the raid, it's a pretty decent sized raid, but there's no activity on the raid, which is discouraging. And I've told you before, guys, you can see these 500x boosts and ads. The 500x boost alone, you're talking about $4,000 that was spent for that, okay? But these things alone don't go ahead and move the chart. So it's got to be community engagement. There's no engagement in regards to the raid from what I saw, so we're going to go ahead and leave this one alone. Now, that could have just been for that particular raid. I don't know how many raids they've done, but for the one that I went in and I saw, I didn't see any activity, and I don't know how long that they've been waiting for people to go ahead and complete that raid either. So, all right, so we're going to leave this one alone. All right, so we're going to go straight to Gemini. The chart on Gemini still looks pretty decent. They've got a 500x raid. They got ads, here. Let's see what's going on in the channel as well. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to verify, and here we go. So 840 members or plus, in here. So they're on the leaderboard. Let's see. This one would be Gemini. So we're looking for Gemini. I don't know, guys. I'm not seeing Gemini. They said they were number 8, right? So not seeing it. Sometimes I can look too quickly, while I'm doing a video and then completely miss it, but I don't see it. So I think this one, they're not currently, it's still saying that this would have been a new buy. So I don't know. Like I feel like I should see it, but I don't see it. And I don't know why I don't see it. Number 9 should be kind of like in here, but we're not seeing it. Okay, so I don't know. But yeah, they're saying they're number 9, but I'm not seeing them on the leaderboard, which is kind of interesting. Okay, so with that being said, it's hard for me to go ahead and make a genuine conclusion as to actually whether they're trending or not, because if they're trending, you should see them on the leaderboard. And I didn't see Gemini, and I looked twice. So maybe I was looking too hard. I'll be more than happy to go ahead and look at it, when I take a look at it after the video's done recording. So, because I'm not going to spend any more time looking at it right now. But with that being said, buys are still coming in, which is helpful to see. We're looking for any sign of any kind of raids, going on. I don't necessarily see that yet. Okay. So, and like I said, a lot of times on these raids, you'll typically see those, pretty quickly, but I'm not seeing that. So, okay. And looking at the pin messages, they got, a number of pin messages, here, number 6 on Dexscreener, which is good to see. All right. And so here you can see Gemini, right? So, but I looked through it. I didn't see it, but like I said, I could have been looking too hard and just missed it, but I looked twice. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump back out here, and I'm going to close this out. And the chart, like I said, looks okay. I think it makes sense to go ahead and set a couple of alerts on this one. So we're sitting at 124. So we're going to go here, and then set 124. Okay. As our found market cap, we're going to copy that, and then we're going to go to 140. So we're just going about 15,000 out on, as far as the deviation from the found market cap. And then on the under, all right, so here we go. And on the under, let's go to 100K. All right, so there we are. So we're going to close that out. And then looking at Malcolm Coin, not a lot of activity going on here. So that kind of concerns me, very little going on here on the 5 minutes, and not much going on here on the 14 or on the 1 hour. But we'll still check it out and see, maybe I could be wrong. They've got some, active buys, still taking place. But that's the reason why you use that information, because it can help you to determine, whether you need to actually go into the chart, into the chat or not. So, but we can see they had a buy, here at 701. That's about a few minutes ago, so that's good to see, right? So, and we also want to make sure these are new holders, so, because sometimes you'll see, you need to pay attention to whether it's just somebody increasing their holdings or not. So, but these are new. Okay, so that's good to see. So with that being said, here, the only thing I don't like is we don't look like we've got active moderation. So this is spam that's entering the chat. It's been here for a half hour, so that kind of stuff, does lead me to believe that I would not want to go ahead and take a look at this one, because no active moderation, means the team's kind of, left the building as far as the token's concerned. And that can be a dangerous thing, especially with somebody coming into the token brand new, hoping that they're going to go ahead and, at least keep a chat clean, right? and take care of the spam. But if they're not doing that, that typically leads to a poor sentiment in regards to the token itself, and people are a bit more reluctant to go ahead and decide to jump into that token if they know that the team really is letting, you know, this and that kind of come into the chat and not taking care of it. Now, I'll take a look again, you know, but yeah, it's still here. So yeah, this is one we're not going to go ahead and mess with. We'll leave it alone. So okay, and I would imagine that chart's going to come down. Now, looking at this one, you know, SAT, this is it's a Matt Fury, you know, oriented, you know, type of token, you know. So obviously, if you guys have been in the game for any amount of time, you know, Matt Fury is like all over the place. It tends to come with, you know, more positive sentiment. You can typically, you know, guarantee that, you know, you're going to see buys on a chart, you know, when you got Matt Fury going on. But that doesn't mean you're going to see this kind of chart. But you typically get buys, you know. That usually is the case. However, I wouldn't go ahead and just, you know, bank on that per se, because like I said, this is a CTO, which means that if it's a CTO, the original, okay, didn't really do anything, or maybe it did and then it just dumped, and maybe the dev decided to leave. So the community had to take it over, right? So keep that in mind, and we do see a lot of CTOs on Matt Fury oriented tokens as well. So let's go ahead and take a look, you know, at the channel, see what they got going on. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go through the verification portal. Here we are. So we got over 500 members. Okay, buys are still coming in. They got a VC going on. Over 50 members in the VC. That is bananas. That's crazy. But it's really, really good, you know, to go ahead and see that kind of activity in a VC. And the chat is open as well. Plus, they've also got a raid going too. What's the raid look like? Let's see. All right, I should have been able to go ahead and see that raid, but I can't see it. It's in the pinned. All right, so there we go. Okay, so looking for 5 bookmarks, you know, 6 replies, 7 retweets, 16 likes, and they're almost close to finishing the raid, you know, so a lot of different things going on here. So I see some very positive things, you know, here. They're on the, you know, D-Raid leaderboard, number 3, you know, so as far as trending, they're number 3. Let's go ahead and make sure they're on the leaderboard, you know, so number 3 would be, there we go. All right, and so now we see Gemini here, okay, so we didn't see that before, but now we're seeing it. So I don't really know what that's about, okay? But with that being said, a lot of different things going on here. I don't really need to see too much. You know, you got a massive VC going. You got a lot of buys coming in. We got 20 plus messages, you know, since we came to the chat. You've got soul trending, you know, as well. You got the rating going on too. So, you know, definitely active people are typing, you know, into the chat, you know, too. So there's a lot of good things going on. And obviously that is being translated into what we're seeing here on the chart too. Now, will it keep coming up? No. I mean, at the end of the day, you guys already know. For any chart that goes ahead and goes up, it's always going to come back down, you know, but again, what's that retracement going to go ahead and look like? On this one, obviously, we're going to set an alert. It doesn't make any sense to go ahead and set an alert at the top here, okay? But you can go ahead and do what I said before. You know, that's how I would operate, is that I'd go ahead and throw a couple of bucks, you know, on the chart just to get a buy on the chart, and then I'd go ahead and, you know, use that buy dip function in Maestro. Links are in the description, guys. You know, there always are in these videos, where you can go ahead and set that threshold. You know, maybe I'd go ahead and set it for something like around here, okay? And then, you know, once it hits that threshold, then it triggers the buy, and then I'm on the chart, you know, with what I actually want to invest, you know, into the token. So, all right. With that being said, we're looking at 388. This is saying 400. I'm going to go with 400 as the final market cap. So here we go, 400K. And then on this, it's going to be under, and we're going to set this for, I'm going to say 350K. Okay. So with that being said, we got our under alert set. We're going to close it out. This one, not really crazy about where it's going in terms of all the retracement, and we got all the minuses here. So we're going to close this one out. This one, not really sure. Not a lot of activity since we left it before. You know, but we'll take a look at it. I mean, it's a BSC token. Let's see what's going on here in the channel. So this is going to be 0 bytes. And let's see here. I don't know what this is. Okay. We'll go and we'll click to verify here. We got a portal guard to go ahead and get through. So let's see here. And all right. So last buy came in a minute ago, which is good to see. Okay. We're not seeing any kind of rating just yet. Okay, still scrolling. All right, the chat does look pretty clean so far. All right. Okay. All right, so no rating. Not seeing anything in regards to trending. At least I don't think I saw anything like that. So I was looking at the bottom to see where you'd actually see the trending link, you know, but yeah, not seeing anything trending wise. Just looking at their pinned messages. They got a boatload of pinned messages, you know, so You know, and obviously somebody coming in new, you're typically not going to go ahead and scroll through 200 plus, you know, pin messages, almost 300. You're not going to go ahead and do that. So here that looks like they paid for Nitro, you know, at some point. Let's see, when was this? Let's go ahead and let's hover over this. So this would have been the 17th. So that's today, you know, so they paid for Nitro earlier today. Let's go ahead and see what they got going on here in the banner. Okay, so hot pairs number 20, they paid for Nitro, but Nitro is not going to show up on Dexscreener. So, but if we open this up in Dex Tools, it might show up there. Okay, likely, you know, just like Dexscreener, if we paid for, you know, boost here, it would show up here. So, but either way, we're not really seeing a lot of that buying activity, right? So it's just kind of sitting idle at this point. I personally think this is probably going to be likely to go ahead and come down, but we'll set 2 alerts on it. So on this one, we're looking at, this says 210, so we're going to go with 210. All right, so all right, 210 is going to be our found market cap. We're going to go ahead and copy that. So on the over, let's go ahead and let's set 225. All right, and then on the under, we're going to go ahead and set 180K. All right, so there we go. Okay, so we're good to go there. And then on LC, really no activity. All right, so and we're looking at the almost minus 60, you know, here in the 6 hour. I think I'm going to leave this one alone. This one, no movement from the last time they were here. It doesn't look like it. And they got a massive boost they paid for here. Keep in mind, a 500X boost is $4,000, you know, so for 2,500 boosts, I mean, they spent some really, really good money for this one. So, but either way, I'm kind of curious about the chat on this one. So let's take a look, you know, so verify here in the portal. So they got going on over 400 members here in this one. So last buy came in at 712. They say they're number 7 on the leaderboard. So we're going to look at Kimmy. So let's see, number 7 is going to be Kimmy. So, but they dropped to 13. Okay, so, but either way, they're still there. So they're still getting some exposure because they're still actively on that leaderboard, right? So let's keep going up. Let's keep going up. Let's see what else they got going on. Anything rating wise? I don't see anything rating wise. All right, so we've done a punch to scrolling, nothing rating wise. You know, I don't see, and then they're obviously trending, right? You know, so looking here in the pin messages, you know, from bad calls, you know, so obviously they showed it to their community in regards to this token, you know, so there's some information here, but not a lot going on in regards to the pin messages. Okay, so we're going to head back on out and let's see here. So we got some retracement going on. So I'm going to go ahead and set, you know, 2 alerts on this one, sitting at 266. You know, so that's what they got going on in the tab. So 266K. So there we go. On the over, we're going to go ahead and set this at 280K. Okay. And then on the under, we're going to go ahead and let's go to 220. All right. So there we are. We're going to see if any of those trigger. And this one's not doing anything. This one's probably going to be a dead token. So I think we're going to leave it there as far as, you know, what we're going to cover tonight, you know, in regards to, what we've done here in discovery mode. So we've gone through some review. We've taken a look at some new stuff. You know, if anything moves, obviously I'll go ahead and let you know about that on the next video. But want to tell you guys, thanks so much for, you know, taking time out your day to go ahead and engage with another video, you know, on the channel and in this Dexscreener series. If you know anybody that can get some value out of what is being shared with you in this series, make sure you go ahead and share the channel, share the series, let them know what's going on. Definitely that's the way that we're going to be able to reach more people through the YouTube platform, is by you sharing the content with others and them doing the same. So thanks so much for subscribing. If you're not yet subscribed, be sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.